Hey everybody, this is Muffin with the Daily Biker Podcast. Just here to let y'all know the opinions and ideas expressed in this show are those of the hosts and their guests, not to be confused with their partners and sponsors. Now, let's get it on.
Hey guys, this is Sean from the Bikes and Beards YouTube channel, and you guys are listening to the Daily Biker Podcast. You're gonna love it.
Well, go tinkle.
I'm not in this.
It's warmer out. It's warmer in there.
Right?
You might be in it right now because I've already hit record. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Daily Biker Podcast. I am in beautiful Tellico Plains, Tennessee. It is a cold morning. Not as cold as it could be, but I have special guests with me. John Buffington.
Yes, sir.
How are you today?
I'm doing well. A little cold, but ready to go ride.
It is a little chilly. So we are on day 3, I guess official day 3.
That's right.
It's day 4 for some, and I guess day 5 or 6 for some others.
Day 7 for me.
For the Let's Take a Ride Eastern Rendezvous. So this is the first one. Obviously, this isn't going to be the last one, but this is the first.
Yes, sir.
So tell us a little bit about what Let's Take a Ride actually is.
Well, we were just a group of guys that got together and rode years back, and we had so much fun, we wanted to do it again. So I just started creating routes, custom routes. We're doing it, but then it became like, this is fun, but it's a lot of work. Let's make some events. David started off with the Festival of Tents, which was kind of like a BDR style event.
Yeah.
We had a different camping spot every night, but we would trailer their luggage to the next spot, so you weren't having to do that. And then we started doing some event rides.
Well, then you're not getting to have fun if you're having to trailer luggage.
Well, we were still camping, but we got out and did the event rides, and we were about to get away from that when Mickey here at Toad, over here on Steer Creek Road, suggested or kind of put a bug in our ear about doing a fall event here. He said he can't get anybody yet. He wants the right people. And we said, okay, let's do it. So here we are.
Well, that works out pretty good for you. I know with Let's Take a Ride, y'all do all kinds of stuff, all kinds of events. You go to different events. You have the YouTube stuff that you do.
Yes.
And stuff like that. How long have you been doing this type of stuff?
This really going at it for probably the past 2 years. So this past year, we're thinking, it's like, okay, we need to have like a mission statement. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And so we kind of had a little brainstorming. And so what we came up with is, because we do have the YouTube stuff and we have this stuff. And so we are an event in media company promoting fun and adventure riding.
Yeah.
And that's what we're about, is promoting fun, because this, as you know, this is a growing segment in the motorcycle world.
Yeah.
And it's all about fun. And everybody needs to get away from their stress of their day jobs to go out and have fun.
Well, adventure riding is definitely something that is growing. It's been around for, I don't want to say a many years, because I feel like that's not even given its due justice about how long it has truly been around for. This is one of your friends. It's a KTM. I know you're a KTM guy.
Well, I am not. I'm not brand specific. I've got a KTM and a Suzuki.
Okay.
Well, actually, I've got 2 Suzukis.
Okay.
My wife's got a Suzuki. I've got a Suzuki, and then I've got my KTM 1090R.
Yeah.
But I've been really interested when the Pan Ams came out. And
Yeah.
I've been eyeing those, and
They're definitely fun.
Yeah.
And they're doing a lot to, I think, help grow this segment. But like I said, this is something, adventure riding is something that's been around for years upon years upon years. I mean, long before an adventure bike was really a thing. Guys had the scramblers, or half the time they weren't even scramblers. They were street bikes that they just put knobby tires on, and they were beating out in the woods. I think kind of in the East Coast, Southeast type region, it is for the most part fairly new. I know they've been doing it for years, a lot longer in out west, Southwest, and stuff like that. But for here, we had hill climbs and stuff for the past 75 years.
Yeah, there was. I mean, that's what Chuck, with Rooster Scooters was talking about. Is that out here, it was all BSA, Triumphs, Harleys, that people just built into the dirt bikes. And, there really wasn't an adventure segment, so to speak, until BMW came out with their first GS.
Yeah.
And then that kind of spawned it, but it hasn't really taken off, the last 15 to 20 years is where you've seen the growth. And it seems like even more recently as you see more manufacturers entering the segment.
Yeah.
And then the segments are growing. It's not just the huge classes. You're getting middleweight bikes and you're getting small. So they're coming in all different.
Well, that being said, I think one of the things that might be helping that segment grow is the fact that a lot of Japanese manufacturers have building dual sports for years upon years.
Yeah.
And those bikes are getting so cheap now that they've really become entry-level motorcycles for a lot of people. They're buying those and they love that type of riding. Now, they might buy something that they can go on the street with, but they still go, oh, man, I miss that. So a lot of guys are moving to that. And I know I've met several people outside of just Harley-Davidson that have all types of adventure bikes. And, I came up here in March for another rally and I was on my street glide and I thought I was going to feel awkward when I pulled in, but there were so many people that wanted to talk to me about it. They're like, oh, I got an old fat boy at home, or I got a cruiser or something like that. So it's definitely very much a motorcycle community. I feel it has greatly changed. 10, 15 years ago, this ADV market, really the only big ADV bikes that you had at the time was the Super Tenere, the Trump Explorer, and the BMW GS. And those guys were always kind of, to be honest, kind of snobbish to everybody else that didn't have those bikes.
Yeah.
But it's a whole different generation. I mean, those guys that were doing that 15 years ago were in their 40s, and nothing against somebody that's in their 60s. I mean, Chuck's 67 years old and he's out here acting like a 16-year-old.
Oh, he's killing it. Yeah.
But it has opened up with a younger generation coming in and changing that perspective of what it means to be out here and what these bikes mean to those individuals. And like you said, Pan America, I mean, Harley-Davidson's getting out here and showing up and making a lot of people look like fools. And when they first dropped it, they're like, oh, it's never going to be anything worse than them. And now it's killing it.
It is killing it. I'll tell you something. I hadn't told anybody this. So yesterday, I know that y'all all went out on a big ride, Sean and everybody. And so I had my father, he just moved to North Carolina. He hasn't ridden anything since scooters back in the 50s, the old Cushman scooters. So I had him coming just to see what we're doing. We're walking around. He's 79 years of age. And the bike that had his biggest attention as he was pulling off, he's like, hold on, John, I got to go see these bikes, the Harleys. He really liked the Pan Ams, and he's like, I want one of those.
Yeah.
So whether or not he goes on and buys it, he might. I'd love it if he, at his age, got back into riding. But that's what he saw, and it's like, I like that. So,
well, I know talking to David's really got the bug for the Pan America.
Yeah.
Right
Oh,
now.
yes, he does.
So,
and so it's, and it's interesting. We have everything here, and you're talking about the cheaper entry levels. There's a lot of KLRs here, and I think for a lot of people, that's the adventure starter kit. And some people, they find it and they stay there, and then you find it and it's like, okay, do I want to go smaller or do I want to go bigger?
Yeah.
What they figure out what type of riding. Do I like more of the adventure based, or do I like more of the woods, single track, gnarlier stuff? And it kind of gives them an idea of which way to go in the segment, and that's certainly what happened to me, except I went smaller and smaller and smaller, and then I realized I needed a bigger bike too. Yeah. So,
well, it's really interesting too, because there's so much stuff happening right now in that world. I know on a previous episode, me and Daniel had talked about the bikes that are coming out. Everybody kind of started moving away from those middleweight bikes and stuff like that, and the smaller bikes. And in recent years, and in what's coming out within the next year, you have so many companies that are revamping those middleweight platforms. Honda's coming out with a new Transalp 750.
Yep.
Kawasaki is apparently doing some stuff with the KLR. I don't quite know yet.
It'd be
I just heard they're doing some stuff.
Yeah.
I would love to see a more competitive KLR, to be honest. I think the KLR is a killer motorcycle, and you can't destroy it. Killer being no pun there. But it's, even with the new plastics and stuff, it's still so outdated compared to everything.
And it's old tech. So that appeals to some people.
Yeah.
And then others are like, it's like, can we not lower the weight and get better suspension?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's either everybody's had one, you either love it or hate it on those. But there needs to be diversity, because you want to have the bike that's right for you.
Well, and Suzuki, they're they have redone the V-Strom 1000. I think
Yep.
it's a 1050 or something now.
And they're about to come out with a new version of it.
They're redoing the V-Strom 650.
Yes.
So, which I've heard is no longer going to be a V. It's going to be a parallel twin.
That's right.
So we had a recent episode where we talked about parallel twins, and that's kind of that big push. You know, with Honda, they have the Africa Twin. It's a parallel twin 1100. People seem to love that thing, but we've talked about it before. I feel that there's two different types of adventure bikes. There's adventure bikes that are essentially dirt bikes that are turned into being able to be road capable bikes.
Right.
And then there's road capable bikes that have been adapted to off-road. And I honestly feel the ones that were road bikes adapted for off-road use seem to turn out better for this type of riding, for adventure riding, because, nothing against like the KLR and the XR650 and those types of things. But when you get it on that open road, which unfortunately doing this type of riding, you have to do that. It's not just trails everywhere you go.
Well, I know when I was on the KLR, 200-mile day was painful.
Mm-hmm.
And
I believe it.
I'm on my 1090, on the big adventure bike, I can go blast out a 360 mile. I can ride 2 hours to the trails, ride all day, and slab it home on the interstate at 80 miles an hour and not have my rear hurting.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, like with us at White Lightning, Sean has his rides that he does every month, and y'all came down and participated on those rides, and it's like, it's even if he goes a short distance to get to the ride, Giorgio went on that ride, and I think it was only like 35 miles to the trailhead, but I know it was a horrible 35 miles on that little Yamaha that he was riding.
Now, I'll tell you something funny about Giorgio. You get a kick out of this. So I had an idea. So I filmed him.
Yeah.
I was racing him. People say it, and it's true. It's not the bike. It's not the suspension. It's not the tires. Because you're out there the other day, it was a KTM 350, an FE 450, myself and some other smaller dirt dual sport bikes.
Yeah.
And he killed us. He's 62 years old, but ex-racer, and he was smoking us. I was doing all I could do to keep him in sights, and it was crazy. But it was so much fun out there. But he's hurting today.
I'm sure. But that's also like, what you have a handful of them out here, and I feel like they're kind of growing a little bit more in the ADV market. People are starting to recognize them. But the Sportster Scramblers.
Yes.
I think people don't think of them as being a capable motorcycle.
That's right.
But those guys get out there and they ride with the best of them and have a blast doing that.
Well, and that's, the first time we came out here with Sean, this summer when y'all had that ride, I could hear Chuck coming up behind me. I could hear that, his scrambler, that twin just chugging along, and he was getting it. I thought I had a quick pace, and then I'd hear him on my tail. I was like, oh no, I better wick it up a little bit.
Yeah, it's, some of the footage, going back through some of the footage of that ride, and I saw a couple bikes go down. Never saw the scrambler go down.
No.
So it was really interesting. I love seeing, like I said, I love seeing this segment grow. I love seeing people get out there and explore. I think there's so many companies right now that are doing things also to help bridge that gap. And I feel like definitely bridging that gap between road bikes and dirt bikes is something that helps the motorcycle community as a whole, helps that grow. I mean, you have stuff like this little Yamaha right here. I mean, that thing looks like it'd be a blast to ride.
Yeah.
And although that one is more street oriented, that's not far off from being a little scrambler.
No, you could slap a skid plate and some knobbier tires and you'd have a scrambler.
Yeah. I mean, and it's a blast. And where we're up here in Tellico, there's woods everywhere, but the start of the Skyway is 5 miles from where we're at right now. I mean, some of the prettiest riding in the country. And if any of these guys one day was like, I'm just going to do a road day, they get to the other side of the Skyway and they're 10 miles away from the Dragon.
That's right.
So, I mean, we're fortunate enough to have some of the best riding in the country right in our back door.
You're right about that. And here's the thing. The majority of the U.S. lives within a day's drive of this area.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the East Coast, So anywhere along these Appalachians, all the way up from where we are, North Georgia mountains up through Tennessee, West Virginia, on up Pennsylvania, there's fantastic riding for the majority of Americans within less than a day's drop. Usually, if you had a big, we're talking about these big adventure bikes, is you can get on and go out and have an adventure and be back home the same day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such an exciting time to be in. Neither one of us are old enough to see some of those exciting moments in history of motorcycles. Obviously, the late 70s into like the early mid 80s, there was a big shift in what was happening in motorcycles. And it was an exciting time for the people then to see what was changing with the Japanese market and developments that Harley-Davidson was making, and some of the European companies, BMW going, hey, here's an adventure bike. Oh, what's this? That's never been done before. Those types of things. But we are seeing history being made right now again in the motorcycle industry, and I don't think people realize it. And if they do, I don't think they're appreciating it as much, because there's going to be a moment, 40 years from now, you're going to have those guys that go, I remember when the Pan America first came out.
Yeah.
Or, hey, I remember when Yamaha decided to make a Tenere 700 or whatever it may be. It's just, there's so much happening right now in the industry, and it's moving so fast. It's almost hard to keep track and keep pace of everything that's going on.
It's an exciting time to be in an adventure bike segment.
Well, I know with Harley-Davidson, we're really excited to be part of this. We're really excited to be able to get out here at these types of events, be able to bring a little lounge area for people to chill in the yurt and stuff like that. And I know it's something that, 5 years ago, I never would have thought of it being like this. I mean, even when Harley-Davidson said, hey, here's a sneak peek or preview or whatever of what we're working on, I never would have imagined it being as accepted as it has been into that ADV market. Now, once again, that might be what we're seeing out here. It might be different in other parts of the country, and hopefully it's not. But, right here across from us, this is a German company. I can't even remember what the name of it is.
Wunderlich.
Wunderlich.
Or I think that's what it says.
I think it's licensed.
Yeah,
the license on the front. And, it's a German-based company. They're based out of North Carolina, the guys that are here. But, for them, GS has always kind of been a thing, followed closely behind with KTM. But they're out here with the Pan Americas, and they're loving it. I mean, they're seeing the future. They're paying attention to this.
Well, the GS crowd knows Wunderlich, and here they are with two Pan Ams and a Sportster with their products on it.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely something that opens up the eyes. People have to start paying attention more to what's happening. Those types of things, I think, will just aid Harley-Davidson in the sale of the Pan America as more companies come along and they see, they're like, oh, these companies are getting behind it. It must be something decent, because I do know when they first came out, there was all these people that are going, oh, there's not the aftermarket for it. Well, the aftermarket's growing really quick right now. I'm fortunate enough working at the dealership to see it, every day. It's like, hey, this company now has a product, this company now has a product, this company now has a product. And it's so grandiose to see this little child as it grows is the best way I can describe it. So look, here comes the Wunderlich guys now. Of course, they're driving Mercedes.
Yes, of course.
I never would have guessed they would drive something different.
It looks like that's got a four-wheel drive conversion
that does look
on
like
there.
Four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
That looks fun is what that looks like.
Yeah, it does. Well, you mentioned with the ADV market, we know the overlanding market's growing. So, adventure riding, that's overlanding on two wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
so where we're at here in Telco is called TOAD, which stands for Telco Overland Adventure Destination. And y'all's little logo that y'all have, I thought was so awesome, because you have, the full ADV guy and all his gear and everything, what looks like he's riding a KTM kind of in the image. I immediately, when I first saw Sean show me the picture, I was like, that's a KTM. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, think about who designed the shirts, guys. That's a KTM. Come on now. I was like,
but you know what the other bike is?
Yeah, but then he's next to a Sportster Scrambler with the Toad on the bike and everything. I was like, it's a it's fantastic. And, like I said, I can't wait to see this event grow. This is the first one. I think y'all have a little over 100 people here and everything. Yeah. And, it's just fantastic. Everybody here is going to be like, oh, we're coming back next year. Just let us know when it is. It's fun. I don't know any other way to describe it. For anybody that's never done this, came out to one of these, rode one of these bikes.
We hope to have y'all back here next year. I hope that Mickey has us back here next year, and we're looking forward to this. This is the right venue, the right time of year.
Well, I definitely think so. Mickey has a big passion with this type of stuff as it is already, and he knows that he's in a prime location for this type of stuff. Of course, it's also one of those things where it's like, I got the property. Why not make a little bit of money off of it at the same time? So, but it's a perfect spot. We're back in this holler and everything, and we're still in the shade, but the sun's slowly drifting into the valley, and the perfect time of year. You can see the color change on the trees and all that other stuff. You couldn't ask for a better day, a better weekend to do these types of things. It's just gorgeous outside.
Well, I'm going to ride today. My buddies are down there itching. I see them geared up, and I'm like, oh no. They're waiting on me.
I'll let you go ride, but before I do, I got a question for you.
All right.
What is your top 3, not just ADV, what's your top 3 favorite motorcycles?
Oh, crap.
I'm not going to hate on you if you don't say Harley, but what's your top 3 favorite?
That's a tough question. I had a love-hate relationship with my old KLR. And I'll tell you what I loved about it is I could beat the snot out of it. I could abuse it, and it would always get me where I need to go. It might not sound pretty.
Yeah.
It might sound, and it sounded like a rattle can going down the road.
Yeah.
But it always got me there. What I hated about it was not good at anything.
Yeah.
But so I will have to rate that up there. I liked my old Goldwing I had. I had an old classic, an 82 GL 1100.
Okay.
And I liked that for road. Yeah. And I really liked the older style bagger, that style. I'm not as much a fan of the newer ones. The older style. It was made in America at that time.
Yeah.
But I liked it as the street bike, but I'm enjoying my KTM 1090 now. But here's the thing. We've got this custom scrambler.
Yeah.
I rode it around here. I was like, ooh, I like this a lot. So I'm going to ride it around this afternoon a little bit in here, and I may change my mind on that.
Well, don't damage somebody's baby, because somebody's going to win
Somebody
that
is going to win that. But no, that felt really good. I have not spent, if I spent more time on that, it'd probably be changing my mind real quick, because it was intoxicating just getting that thing going.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, John, I appreciate it. I'll let you get riding.
All right.
Y'all have a good one.
Hey everybody, this is Sean at White Lightning Harley Davidson. I want to thank you for listening to the Daily Biker Podcast. You can reach the podcast on Facebook or Instagram at The Daily Biker, or you can email the podcast at thedailybiker@gmail.com. Be sure to keep an eye on White Lightning Harley Davidson social media pages for the most up-to-date information on all our events and where you can find the boys.